thoughts? Well, that wasn't supposed to loop.
Yeah, fuck. It's live. Nothing works right. Here we are. It's Thursday night. It's the end of the year, and fuck 2023. We're going to send it out with a blaze of shit glory. So this is the Dewey Podmonster Podcast. With me, of course, is the host of the Dewey Podmonster Podcast, Sean. And then we have our favorite guests with us. We have Sam and Jordana from Feature Creatures DTF, and of course, Pretty Killer Podcast. How are you guys all doing tonight on this wonderful Thursday shit show of a night?
Oh, come on. It better give me a thumbs up.
We're doing wonderful.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I am. Jordana might not be.
I'm great. I'm actually like really happy to be hanging with you guys and talking about the shitstorm that was 2023.
Wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, what else are you going to do with your time if you can't complain about movies anonymous? Well, I guess this is anonymous, so
It's anonymous.
publicly. So
Yes, you'll know it's me.
That's what the internet's for. Bitching about movies and pornography, right?
I put it in the other order, but yeah, pretty much. So
Yes.
all right, so let's just kind of jump into it. So we're not going to be too structured in this. Basically, the premise of this is we're just going to talk about things that we found in 2023. You can either pick something that you like that was new in 2023, something that's new to you that you found in 2023, so a movie, album, whatever from a previous year, or you can go right onto the hate wagon and start with something that you hate. Feel free to shit on whatever you want. This is the forum for it. And anything that you want to talk about is fine. So again, we base our shit on consumption. So there's whatever it is that you found. You could talk about the new item on the Taco Bell menu if you want, bro. I care. Like, this is where we set 2023 ablaze. So let's
Love it.
go based off the order that I'm in. I'm going to start with Sam, since Sam, you're right under me, and we're just going to kind of go around the table. And why don't you kick us off, Sam? What would you like to talk about as we light the bag of poop on fire that is 2023?
Well, I'm not going to be the one who pops that negative balloon, so we're going to keep the poop in the balloon for a minute. I want to start on a positive note, and it's kind of came in at the end. I haven't got to hear your guys' opinion on it yet, but did you guys see Thanksgiving? Because it's my movie of the year. I loved it so much.
I just watched it this week.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Sean?
No, I didn't see it.
Well,
I'm a jerk. I
Sean,
didn't see it.
I got
He's too busy at Christmas parties.
You just saw Jaws for the first time.
Oh, I know. I thought we were waiting to talk about things that we hated.
Oh no! Oh,
Yeah.
Arrow in the
Sam's heart is shattered.
Ah.
Shattered.
He's saving all his love for Cruel Jaws.
Yeah.
Anyways, well,
Yeah.
so I like Thanksgiving. No, I just really thought Thanksgiving was great. I really felt that it was the closest we'll probably get to like a new slasher on a big screen, like that, went wide release. I can't remember the last time I saw one in theaters, like genuinely, besides a Scream movie, which that whole franchise is on fire.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that before we're too long here. So
Yeah.
But what'd you think, John? I haven't really got to hear your opinion.
on Thanksgiving or on Scream?
Thanksgiving. Well, I'm sure someone will light that fire.
Oh, I plan to. I have mixed feelings about it. Like, as a whole, I like the movie. Like, it's on my list of things that I liked for 2023. So I'm with you. I won't go as far to say that's the best thing that I've seen this year, but I am a little bummed out that they didn't go for the grindhouse look that they did in when I say the original trailer, I mean the one that played between Death Proof and Planet Terror in the original run. So this sounds shitty, but I hate that it looks so good. Like it's a very pristine looking movie, and that wasn't really what I kind of wanted. That like grimy, dirty. I feel like I just watched an Eli Roth movie type, vibe to it.
Yeah.
But once the movie gets going, once it kind of kicks into gear, like it checks all the boxes for what you want out of a slasher. It's not something you have to think about all too hard. It's got some pretty elaborate and entertaining kills in it. The killer is good enough. I think I would grow to like him more as if we assume. I know we're getting a 2. They've already announced that, but
Yep.
assuming this turns into a franchise, because everything's a franchise, I could see myself growing to like it more. And I will say they did the cheerleader knife scene way better in the original trailer than they did in this one. So
They did.
Yeah.
Jordana, now I know you loved it as well.
It is my favorite of 2023. So that goes into what I was going to put as my favorite. I absolutely loved it. I thought it felt the closest to like seeing Scream for the first time, with like maybe not like originality so much, but there was some things that I loved in it. I loved the bounce back of humor to like a serious situation in a couple scenes. I think you guys know which ones I'm talking about that have seen it. I fucking loved it. It was great. I had a blast in the theater.
I could see it being more fun in a theater. I watched it at home, so I didn't have the theater experience for it. And I kind of wish I had. I guess I still could, but that probably would have lent to more joyous activities. So.
Yes, I feel that. But maybe you'll be able to watch it on the big screen for the sequel.
Yeah, sure. We'll think about that. So.
Yeah, sure.
A plus to it.
You know how much I love going out in public and mingling with the masses. So
I know, because it's a toss-up. You never know if you're gonna get a theater full of assholes or like a cool theater experience. Because when we went, the whole theater was sold out, and it was cool to hear people's laughter, gasp, ew, like disgust. That was kind of fun to have that experience.
I haven't had that in a theater in forever. Usually I just get pissed off. Like not to bring up Scream again, but I remember when I went to see Scream 5, it was right after they reopened theaters. It was like the first like big movie that was aside from Jackass, it was the only thing that I had seen in a theater. And it's in the opening scene, and here's Ghostface like stabbing the shit out of Jenna Ortega, and I'm fine with that. And some dipshit walks in and goes, "Is this Scream?" I'm like, "Did you look at the fucking screen, or are you just gonna like walk in and talk like a dipshit?" Like, no, this is the Lion King. Like,
they did that again.
Yeah, clearly. So.
I find myself just getting so anti-social with the movie. Like again, we've discussed it on a previous thing we did, but like I'm not a big movie theater person, but I will go.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I go on a weekday. I go at like the 10 a.m. showing. Like I'm like, I want there to be as little people in there. Like if I could have the whole theater to myself, it would be perfect. But I just find that like I don't really get much out of watching a movie like a crowded theater. I get more negative than I do out of like a positive vibe out of that.
The thing I would say that's been an exception is there's a theater by us that does a lot of like retro viewings. We went and saw the original Scream and the original Halloween this year in a theater. And it was cool because they played what at least appeared to be like the original cut. Like it kind of looked shitty and you could see all the imperfections and all that type of stuff. It was still in the weird angle. It wasn't the like full, I don't know what the ratio is for a current movie, but like you could tell it was from like 1996 or 1978. So that was pretty cool. And both of those, we were like one of like 4 people in the theater. Aside from one group of fucking kids, I was like, I'm gonna kill you people. Like
it's gonna be real life. I'm gonna stab you.
I'm saying, like, it's 10:30 at night. Why are you bringing these little fuckers in here? Get out of here. So Sean, do you have any opinions on Thanksgiving? I know you haven't seen it yet, but did you have any thoughts on it?
No, not at all. I didn't watch it because I thought we would talk about it, but I didn't want to watch it way ahead of time because peeling back the curtain, like I don't watch anything. If we're going to talk about it, I don't watch it unless it's something I've seen, obviously, then I watch it. But if it's something that's coming out that's new or something that I haven't seen in a long time, I don't watch it until we talk about it because I got a lot of other stuff to watch. So not I don't know, I came across like negatively, like I'm an asshole again, but no, just I didn't watch it. So I don't have any thoughts on it.
Well, we'll
at
probably
all.
get to that next year. So,
Yeah. I have a
it'll
whole
be a
year to
minute.
watch
Which
it.
isn't too far away.
Yeah. Well, next year, like November, not next year, like January. So we have a whole bunch of
then
other
it is
crap
far
to get
away.
to before that. So, all right,
I'm
Jordana, how about
watching it
you?
on the second.
You're going on the second?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it on the second.
How about you, Jordana? What do you want to hit on next? You can either open the hate can up, or you can go to something you like, or whatever you want to do.
I won't bust open the hate can quite as quick as I want to because I'm like bursting to talk about this hate. But I'll stick with things that I enjoyed. Now this is something, and I kind of talked about it I talked about it with all three of you, but something that I loved that I found in 2023, not that came out in 2023, is Eraserhead.
The David Lynch rabbit
And I
hole.
know Yes, and I know it's super obscure and it's a weird random thing to stumble upon in 2023, but I absolutely obsessed is not even the correct word for this movie. Like I still think about it. I still have the In Heaven song playing in my mind, random parts throughout the day, the table scene with the chicken. It's just crazy. And I can't believe I waited this long to watch it.
So, can I ask a question with that?
Of course.
Did you fall down the David Lynch rabbit hole of listening to him speak in interview form?
Not yet. But I remember that your impressions of him, because I really haven't heard him say anything, but I loved your impressions.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jordana. I don't have an impression of David Lynch.
I was waiting for somebody.
What did he say? I hate the color. What did you say?
Something
or what did he say? I hate the color blue. Or what did he say?
He says a lot of crazy. I think my favorite thing is I've ever seen him say is he called cut on the scene. He goes, "Okay, cut. Now do it again, but not shitty."
I recently came across an interview he did where he's like, on every movie, I require there to be Cheetos present at the snack table. He's like, I don't eat them when I'm not making films, but they're delicious. And I was like, this fucking guy's awesome.
It's by far the best part. Like
crazy.
his movies are fine. Like I'm not going to take anything away from his movies. Like I feel like I have to be in a Lynch mood to even attempt to open that. But listening to him talk is the drug trip that I always want. So,
and it's so funny because I didn't even know he was like that. Like I know people talk about David Lynch movies. You know what I mean? Like it's something you don't know, you hear about, and it's just, oh, he's this. And I didn't put too much thought into it, and I knew that he did Twin Peaks, and I kind of fell into Twin Peaks, but fell out of it. And I it's not like I didn't want to, but I just kind of fell out of it and things happened and I haven't got back into it. But just so random of a movie that I love. Like I'm still confused. I have no idea what the fuck the point is of that movie, but I just love it. And that.
Have you watched Dune yet?
I don't want
to. Oh, jeez.
Oh, Sean, you're killing me.
Not.
You're killing me.
So, Dune.
I've seen Dune hundreds of times, the David Lynch version. So,
Dune is the one that you want to pop an
not as a
edible
bad
before, about 30 minutes before you start it and then watch it.
Okay.
You'll be catatonic by the end of the movie. So,
okay, so I'll add that to my checklist of things to do in 2024.
It's got a lot going for it, but it's got a lot of things not going for it either.
Dune is super,
Which sometimes
super
I love.
flawed, but I love that movie.
I watched it recently and I was like, oh my God, what is this Beetleborg bullshit that's going on with these costumes and the iridescence and Sting's Speedo, armored Speedo and all that? It's just nuts.
Wow.
Nuts.
lots of spice. Lots of spice.
Mm-hmm.
Spice and pain boxes and Kyle MacLachlan. Oh, it's just wonderful.
Have any of you seen the remake of that? They just redid it 2-3 years ago.
The remake?
Like that. Yeah, they remade
Is that
it.
with
They didn't remake David Lynch's Dune.
They remade Dune. I
They
don't know
made
that
a
was
new
David
version
Lynch's.
of Dune.
They
You cannot
yeah.
remake a David Lynch movie. It
They're
is
attempting to make
impossible.
Frank Herbert's
That was
Dune.
it.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, like they
Oh,
did with
yes,
that
and that-
TV show like 12 times.
Yeah. Sci-Fi Network channel or Sci-Fi.
Mm.
Seafy.
Yeah.
Fucking Seafy.
Fucking
Sci-Fi.
Sci-Fi.
Oh, back when they used to have all the fun movies that now just populate the catalog of Tubi. So,
Tubi and Pluto.
I was just about to ask: is
that.
Sci-Fi still a channel? Like,
I don't have cable anymore, so I have
Yeah.
no idea.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't
I
either.
think
and
it is.
It
I'm gonna
wouldn't
say
surprise
yes.
me. It's just gonna go on forever. We'll show
Yeah,
I think
Farscape and Stargate
yeah, but
SGT or whatever it's called.
all those channels live on forever because they're all just like, well, if you have to have it because you want ESPN so you can watch one football game a week. So that's how all those channels make their money.
It's
Yeah.
true.
So, yeah,
John and I worked for the cable industry. We know how this works.
sadly.
Oh
So,
boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
we both got out and we still have our, functioning heart
paying the
valves
man.
for the moment. So, Sean, how about you? What do you want to hit on?
So I think I need to say this isn't. I had made a list because I'm a list guy. So I made a list, but I'm going to talk about one thing, and I'm not going to talk about things that I hate. I want to take the suspense out. Sam, Jordana had me watch Jaws. I watched Jaws. Jaws is a great fucking movie.
Oh God, you gave me a heart attack earlier.
Now I had to keep the veil, and
Yes.
keep you on your toes. But no, it's a great movie. It's I've talked to like multiple people now since I've seen it. And my brother-in-law was a big advocate, like, you haven't seen Jaws? And I'm like, we talked about it on Jordana's show, and it was like, it's one of those things that you just kind of get you absorb everything about, or you think you absorb everything about it through osmosis, but because people, it's just like the common parlance, right? Everybody just, oh, Jaws, yeah, just assume that you've seen it if you're of a certain age. And I just never had. So actually watching it, there were some twists. Like I said on her show, was like, it's one of those things where you've heard about the movie so much that you expect something to happen, and when it doesn't, you're pleasantly surprised. It's like when you know the outcome of a game that you've recorded, and you go back and you watch it, and something happens in the game, and you're like, wait, I know that this team loses, but they're so close, like they're doing something, the momentum is turning, and then the door just gets slammed in your face because no, they still lost. So some things, people died that I thought made it, and people made it that I thought died. And the music is awesome, and it's just a really it inspired me watching that movie to go watch Chinatown, which I really wanted to watch, and I had never seen Chinatown, and it was like I had the week off after I watched Jaws, and that maybe rolls into another one of my favorites that I discovered this year, Chinatown. Like I had wanted to see it forever. And I just never had got around to it, didn't have the time or whatever. I think that's a 2.5 hour movie. It's a long one. It might be 3 hours, but it was totally worth it. And then I was looking for, like, on AFI's website, the American Film Institute, like their top 100, to see what movies of that era, the 70s mostly, like, there's Casablanca and Citizen Kane and all that stuff's like on the top of the list. And I still haven't seen those all the way through. But really seeing Jaws like open the floodgate as to like, okay, now what can I see? What movies can I see that I've wanted to watch or that I've heard great things about, and I just maybe poo-pooed them or, kind of wrote them off the list because you just know so much about it. And I didn't discover anything else because then I didn't watch anything after Chinatown. But like, the idea's there. It planted the seed.
First of all, I love Chinatown. I'm glad you brought, like, Chinatown's amazing. Minus the piece of shit director, but
right.
the art is good. But I was talking to John about it before a couple days ago, and he was like,
Sam had my favorite response to you not seeing Jaws that I think I've heard altogether.
Well,
he's fucking seen Gymkata, but he hasn't seen Jaws.
Yeah. And that's what listening to
Priorities,
you,
Sam. Priorities.
listening to you now, you're like, I'm going through this like AFI top 100 list, and it's like I almost like I feel like I'm looking at you, and I'm like, you're like, it's as if you're learning like, oh, movies can be good. Like,
Oh,
it's not.
I've seen like 47 of the top 100 just to keep it straight.
You're like, oh, there's stuff outside of Tubi. Oh, all right.
I've watched so much shit before Tubi was thing and discovered some gems off Tubi. I don't know if I have any on my list, but maybe one of them's on Tubi. Yeah,
Ooh,
maybe.
I love
I
Tubi.
watch a bunch of shit. I watch all types of stuff.
Oh, I know, it's just funny the way you were talking about it. But yes, I was like, I think you had just posted about Jim Cotta, which I was like, I thought I was the only person who knew about pommel horse fighting karate, and then I'm like, but he hasn't seen fucking Jaws.
I mean,
It's a lot of classics. You know, so little. I don't know, what is it? So little. So many movies, so little time.
Oh yeah,
one's an American hero and the other one's a shark. I mean, what are you gonna do?
it's true. One saves the world or a
The
small
world, Star Wars
village. I don't know.
Parmesan.
Oh my god.
Parmesan, that's right.
Yeah,
So-
home of the. That's where they invented chicken parmesan.
Oh well, the more you know.
Now I kind of want to go there. So, all right. Well, if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to tear the hate Band-Aid off, because what would we be without bitching? And Jordana, I apologize because you've heard this one plenty over the course of 2023.
Okay.
I have grown to hate Scream 6, even though I don't really hate it, but what Scream 6 has become, I fucking can't stand. One, anyone who's saying that this is the best Scream movie is high as shit, but not in a good way. Two, way to take a fucking slasher movie and neuter the shit out of it. Like, anyone who should be dead in this movie just miraculously gets up and starts making out with like supermodels. Fuck off. Three, like the most, like what should be the most intense scenes in this movie being, and Sean, I'm sure you haven't seen this, so I apologize in advance, but it'll be years before we get around to talking about Scream 6. So yeah. Your bodega scene, how are you gonna give Ghostface a shotgun and only shoot one person with it? Fuck off. Like that, there should have been like a pile of New Yorkers dead in that goddamn bodega. And you just take all the intensity that you build on the subway for a quick little prison shiv, and then you still have the bitch fucking live. Like, what the fuck? Fuck this movie. Fuck the
And Gail lived.
Yeah, Gail lives. She gets stabbed in her fake tits, and she still lives. Fine, whatever. She also is the biggest fucking moron because she's in the only safe space in her house. She's got one entry point where this guy can come through and get her. And what does she do? She opens the fucking door and goes wandering into her apartment to get stabbed. Yeah, you deserved it, dumbass. So yeah, I'm thoroughly annoyed with Scream 6. And it's not even I know depending on who you ask, there's a lot of mixed feelings about Jenna Ortega, and she's not the problem in this movie to me. I think her character's not very well fleshed out in this movie, but I watch horror movies. That's not exactly a deal breaker for me. I could deal with that, but just every single thing that you could have done to make this movie intensified, up the ante, earn your fucking R rating, or take advantage of the fact that you're in New York, you just shat the bed on and gave me what you're calling a Scream movie with the most Looney Tunes fucking 3 Ghostface killers at the end that they could have possibly done. There's so many ways they could have done this better.
I concur. I mean, I really enjoyed watching it, and I, whatever, for what it is, I think from a personal stance, from 4 and on, I think that it was kind of getting back to where maybe Scream, I don't know. I don't even, it's such a shit show right now. It's so all over the place.
I'm not even talking about the stuff going on right now with that franchise. That's a whole different can of shit. But
I feel like that's just it's the progression of a shitstorm that maybe should have been put out. Maybe this is a way of the horror gods to be no more. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I agree with majority of the stuff you said. They had awesome scenes, but they totally watered it down. The killers are ridiculous, and everyone that got it. Even Kirby should have died. They should have made it like brutal.
Why even
made it
bring
like
Kirby
everyone.
back? All she does
Exactly.
is sit around and tell you things like. All she does is sit around and be like, "Oh, Stu Macher. Oh, well, is he dead? Oh, that's what they want to. Oh, maybe seeds for when we need to revitalize the franchise. You know, it's just
Mhm.
okay. You want to bring back Kirby? You know what? I was a young adolescent when Kirby was first on. I loved her too because what guy didn't? She was fucking gorgeous in Scream 4. But that doesn't justify bringing her back just to have her stand around not doing shit.
She's irrelevant in
And
that movie.
I feel like it's a
Plus,
trend
are they
though to
really
like
gonna-
bring people back.
Are they really gonna? Is the FBI really gonna let someone who was a victim of this? I know it's a group of killers, but I'm gonna say this killer for lack of better wording. Do you really think they would assign that person to be in charge of the special forces of stopping Ghostface? As dumb as that fucking sounds, like, don't they have a thing like about vested interest or some shit? Like you're not allowed to investigate shit that you're connected to.
I would imagine
Yeah,
so.
and I thought that was like a real life thing. So I'm like, they're making this so like comical, like even the dad being on the case.
Yeah,
You know what I
that
mean?
too. Like, again, I'm not a cop, thank God, but I don't think if my daughter got like pieced up by Ghostface, that they're gonna let me stay on the job. I would hope, because I would think giving someone the option to shoot people is not a good idea when you just watched your daughter get murdered or
Mhm.
fake murdered. And two, I certainly don't think they're gonna let you investigate that. So
It's craziness, and I don't know. I had fun watching it, but I just got really high. Like, I was like, man, like I wish that things would have played out differently.
I'm with you, John, too, because I enjoyed it for what it is. But like the biggest thing is just the fact to me is that it's a movie that like sort of like it's trying to like up the intensity, but then the people are knife sponges and just like they come back from everything. I mean, Sean, you haven't even seen it. It's unbelievable. Like, I mean, we're talking knives rips up the chest and like and they're just like they
this
walk.
one dude gets pieced up like 40 times. He seriously gets stabbed at least 40 times, and then he's like running after an ambulance to make out with Jenna Ortega, which half of that I can understand. The other half, I'm like, that's not how it works, man.
And then I'll say just it really sucks is that like I was into this trilogy. Like I was so into it. And now if this is the ending that we're going to get to the sister's story, such a fucking letdown.
Well, I should say, I mean, I'm putting this in the hate column because I have a lot of gripes to pick with this movie. I actually don't hate the movie as a whole. Like, it's not the worst thing I've seen. There's things I do like about it. I like Sam more than I like Tara by far. Like, because she gets all stabby and like pissed off and shit, and that's great. You know,
Yeah.
I'm way over the Billy Loomis hallucinations. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yes.
Like, why are you hallucinating this full-grown adult that you never saw? Like, the fuck, you know? Doesn't make any sense to me. So again, it is not the worst movie I've seen even this year, but I have some major gripes with it, and I consider Sam, I know Scream's one of your franchises that you hold close to your heart, and Jordana too. Like, it's up there for me. Like, it's if I see Stu back there. Like, it's probably like if you were to rank all the big franchises, I'd probably put it at number 3, which is right behind Jason and Michael, which is pretty high compliment for me. But there's major problems that I have with this, and the biggest problem of all is that just there are no fucking consequences for any of the characters in this movie. I also kind of hate that they've kind of shoehorned their own bullshit into the movie. Like, do we really need to have a, improv like redo of a Randy scene in every fucking movie at this point where someone makes up?
I hate that.
It's fucking forced, and it's not funny. It doesn't land. It just feels like, well, we made a Scream movie. We have to include this shit for the next 5 minutes. We check that box. Yeah, we have to check that box off. So
I'm glad that you said that because Mindy delivering it, because like maybe, and I'm not, it's not that I don't like Mindy as a character, but I think that it just feels just like you said, forced, and it just doesn't seem genuine. And also, like, too, Wes Craven took risks with the franchise. He killed Randy in 2. You know what I mean? Like, and Randy was a pretty popular fucking character in the franchise. He kills off Cotton in the opening scene. Like, you need to take risks. You have to do something that's going to like push it over that threshold. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know.
You have to kill characters that people give a shit about. Otherwise, why am I like? I don't care that you killed random guy in Bodega who's probably listed as Bodega clerk in the credits. Don't give a. I mean, fine if you're gonna do like a really cool like splatter scene or something. Cool, absolutely, I'm all for it. Like, I have no problem with a roadkill victim in a slasher movie just because, for whatever reason.
Yep.
But again, when one of your main characters who we're supposed to care about literally gets shivved like 50 times and then just staggers out like, I'm okay. Like, fuck off. Like, that's not how that works.
I hated that part. I hate when it was like I hated it.
I hate that they ADR. Like, I feel like, okay, so like, just to my last thing, I'll say the Gale one. Gale, if you killed Gale, that would have been enough for me to go like, okay, now we're killing characters that people care about. I personally don't give a shit about Gale anymore. I think she's holding the franchise back. But they killed her in that fucking movie. And then I think they pussed out and then they ADR'd a stupid line like, she's breathing. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. She is deader than shit.
You're right, though. That
completely
she is,
agree.
I won't go as far to say she's holding the franchise back, but I do feel like they're just kind of like they're doing with what's her name, Mindy and Randy. They're just recycling the same shit. It's like, oh, Ghostface showed up. Here's Gale. Someone's gonna punch her, and then she's gonna be a dick, and she's gonna be like, well, I got to get the story because I'm Gale Weathers, even though I'm on the Today Show or whatever. You know, it's just the two, where are they, the Carpenter sisters or wherever their fucking name is, like Tara and Sam. You made up this BS story about her being the bastard son of Billy, which I always thought was like, all right, that's a fucking stretch, but whatever. I'll give that a pass if you can deliver on the rest. And I actually liked 5 for the most part. And I know we can probably go back and forth about that too, but that's a different podcast or live stream or whatever. I bought into them enough and liked both of those characters enough that it was just like, you got to give these people fucking consequences. And truthfully, when they said, because even before all this bullshit that's happening now with Wissa, I don't know her last name, and I apologize. Her and
Barrera.
And Jenna leaving because of depends what you read. I heard that she was having scheduling conflicts with that Wednesday show before this even happened. Yeah. Whatever the reason is, you don't need Tara to tell this story. Like, any of these movies would be just fine if she's like, well, she's at college. We're going to have Sam go off and do her own thing. Cool. Yeah. I don't need any of these fucking teenagers running around saying Core 4, you know. No offense, Jordana. So
none taken. That whole thing was just like a joke because it was like hatred towards the movie, and then we're like, it wasn't that, and then it was just like a play off of it. Please, I would never be that cheesy to be like Core 4. I hated that part of the whole movie because I actually started to like them as a group, and then when they did that, I was like, oh fucking come on.
And our friends over at the Grace Tap Room are absolutely right. Chad should not have survived.
No.
Fucking
Chad's like the new Dewey, like the guy who just gets absolutely obliterated every movie and then like, gives the thumbs up as he like.
Yeah, there's a difference though. Like Chad is like the typical like college douchebag, where Dewey's like the lovable idiot. There's a big difference in those characters.
Oh yeah, I mean Dewey's far more likable. I feel like that's his, like you said, they're just kind of recycling shit, and I feel like they're like, well, we did it where Dewey just gets his ass kicked constantly, so you're the new Dewey. So we're gonna write you in. We're gonna write you to get stabbed 75 times, and you're gonna walk away. Actually, you'll show up at the end of the movie totally fine. Like,
I like how his
Yeah,
stab
not even
count has
limping.
progressively gotten higher as we've talked through this.
I get stabbed 69 times.
150 times.
shot him right
Can
in the
I say
head.
something, though?
Walked away.
That would have made this movie so goddamn amazing is, you know
Space.
how in the beginning they're playing Jason Takes Manhattan?
Mm-hmm.
So now let's take the Gale scene where she always interrupts to get her news, her microphone, and someone punches her. Wouldn't it have been awesome to get a, what's his name, that gets his head punched off and have her head
Yes.
fucking roll off like a Jason nod, and then like she would have died, and everyone would have been like, "Oh, dude, Sam just fucking knocked her head off, like for real." Like, how cool would that have been? I know.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So, do we have any more Scream hate, or do we want to move on?
I think we could probably fill the live if we kept going with Scream hate at this point, or just like issues with it, because I love 1, 2, and 3, but oh man, I'm sad.
there's
It's
parts
sad.
that,
Isn't it kind of sad?
No, because I'd rather see it die like this and not continue to get worse than. And I don't think it's going to die. I think what's going to happen is they're going to just. I don't know what they're going to do story wise, but I think it's only a matter of time before we see Scream 7 or Scream, whatever they call it. I don't think it's going to die. There's money to be made, but
yeah,
whatever. At least if it means I don't get any more Skeet Ulrich hallucinations, which as much as I like Skeet Ulrich, I don't need him in hallucination form.
No,
I only want it if it's Stu and he's dreaming about like dancing with him or something. Like, that's all.
Can it be
like a ghost scene?
Of
Stu was
but if
clearly
it's
in love with
Stu,
him, so like,
can it be
like a
Stu
pot making
as,
scene?
Yeah, I want Stu as his Five Nights of Freddy character, but dressed up as his SLC Punk character.
I'll take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's just shoehorn all
Steve-O.
this shit together. Yep. All right, Sam, change the subject. What are we on next?
All right. Well, we've popped the poop balloon, and if we're going to talk about franchises that we love that have just been kind of disrespected. I think the worst movie I saw this year, it was a toss up between 1 or 2, but I'm going to just pull the trigger and I'm going to say Exorcist Believer. I
Didn't see it.
Oh my!
You're not missing
God.
anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say I felt like I knew better, but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
I like
it's
Christopher Nelson,
Mm-mm.
who's the lead effects guy, and I will eventually watch it just to see what he did because he always does really good practical effects. But past that, I don't give a fuck.
I truthfully Jordana saw it before me. I just happened to see it because it was on. I had no desire to watch it. I was like, I don't give a shit. Like, I know this isn't going to be good, but it was on HBO Max. Did it? What was it?
You?
It disturbed me.
Did it possess you?
I don't know if it possessed me to want to fast forward a lot. But it's just is awful. Like, from the minute it opens, I'm like, oh, like, this is the setting we're in. Okay. And like half of the movie is like we're looking for baby Jane who's missing, kind of. Honestly, it just, from beginning to end, it just made me angry. And then but I will say I finished it. The other movie I fast forwarded through, but I truthfully hated it. Jordana, I know you were just also not a big fan.
Not at all. And it's another like, to kind of go off of to what you said, like, it was what, 2.5? It was 2.5 hours.
It was too long, is what it was.
2.5 hours. God damn.
Okay, so I just want to I just want to throw in, like, I'm sick of movies being so fucking long. Like, well, how are you going to sit there and think that we have that much time to watch bullshit? Like, there was a resurgence in like long horror movies this year, and they all sucked. And I'm not trying to, like, I know that's a generalized statement, but like Beau Was Afraid. What is that? 3.5 hours.
I feel like this is the
Yeah,
dog
that was
pound.
really long.
The dog pound in Arsenio right now.
It's so bullshit that we
hour and a half,
like,
then
literally
fuck off. That's what a horror movie should be.
Exactly. So watching The Exorcist Believer, I was like, it was a Hallmark movie with
I like this.
horrible acting, and then
You're
and then
kind
they
of
wanted
selling
to
it,
throw.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. Then they throw. Let me change it. They throw Ellen Burstyn in it to make like the OG. Oh my god. I gotta go see it. It's a fucking. Don't even get me started on what they do with her in the movie. The only redeeming quality is to you, John, is the effects. Like the girls being possessed, they did kind of look like cool, but it didn't fit because it wasn't scary. There was no build up. You know what I mean, Sam? Like there was no like eeriness. There was no
I hated them.
nothing. Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
like I felt
Yeah.
like with Regan, I'm like, you kind of feel bad for Regan or Reagan or whatever her fucking name was. And you're like, okay, I understand it. In this one, I genuinely was like, they should put a bullet in both their fucking brains and call it a day.
Like your losses.
These are two shitty kids and they're done. All right.
That's how
Yeah.
you do a fucking exorcism.
That's what I want. Like, hey, he has a good one-liner, like, possess this bitch, and then just caps them both and walks out and lights the place on fire. I would have been like, perfect.
I always liked. I assume I'm not the only one who's seen Constantine, but I always like the scene where he's
Yeah.
doing the exorcism and the demon tries to come out the girl's throat. He just punches it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's entertaining. So
Get back in there.
yeah.
So that was my pretty close to being tied for worst movie I've seen in the year, but it was just horrendous.
And David Gordon Green just needs to stop. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know who's pumping him up to let him know, like, you're doing a great job. Like, you are not doing a good job. You're not making a good name for yourself. Do more Pineapple Express movies. Do your own fucking franchise. Stop messing with established, reputable franchises that are now jokes because of him. Like, it's sad.
He was funny in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah. He's done some good things.
I don't think I've seen that.
That's the Nick
He's
Cage
only in
movie.
it for like, yeah, it's Nick Cage playing Nick Cage, which if you haven't seen that, you do need to see that. But
Yeah.
he's in it for like 2 minutes. So
I will end my little rant on this piece of dog shit movie by just saying that I'm glad William Friedkin, the original director, got his wish. He died before it was released. So like literally like 2 months beforehand. So big ups to you, William Friedkin, because you missed this piece of shit.
he had
Yep.
wished for that. I didn't realize that.
He literally said,
yeah.
he said in an interview that they gave my masterpiece. I believe it was quote, they gave my fucking movie to the Pineapple Express guy. He said, I hope I'm dead before it comes out. And he fucking called it.
He probably knew. He was like, okay, just beam me up.
He's like, just,
I mean,
yeah, he saw the
in
trailer
fairness,
and he was like, just stop the meds.
in fairness, if you were going to pitch a Pineapple Express version of The Exorcist with Seth Rogen and Danny McBride, I'd probably be willing to watch it.
Imagine if Seth Rogen got possessed and all he was doing is laughing evilly. His laugh.
I want to see Seth Rogen be Reagan in the next one.
Yes.
I would take like a repossessed style, if you've ever seen that classic. Leslie, I would take a repossessed style exorcism movie before I will ever watch this piece of shit again.
Or even like Jonah Hill in This Is the End. You know what I mean? Like like put one of them in there and rock it that way. Like I'd watch that over.
Well, he's kind of a piece of shit
And
now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. But now we get to look forward to 2 more of these fucking movies. So
Did it do well? Because I don't know if it did all that well.
I think it did. I think it made its money back. I don't know if it made a ton of money, but I'm pretty sure they're still doing 2. From what I've heard, they might not be doing 2 as David Gordon Green wanted, and that he might not be doing it. But I've heard that they're still going forward with them.
which at this point, it's like, what's the point? Like you're wasting. Where's this money coming from that you're putting into these shit fucking movies? Like, don't do it. Just leave it as no one believed and call it a day.
Exorcist. No one believed. The end.
It's supposed to be a believer, but no one believed. So goodbye.
I like it.
I do.
Okay, who's next? Jordana?
I guess I'll keep the poop balloon going, but I'm not gonna go too hard on it because I honestly, talking about it and giving it like life is enough. But if I have to see any more fucking Taylor Swift, hear about her, anything, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my shit. Like 2023 was the worst year because of Taylor Swift. I don't care. I'm sorry to anyone that is listening and likes her. Ugh, no more, please. I can't.
She saved me $9. She's all good for me.
I know that you loved her cup, and I'm so happy that you got a cheap soda.
I really wish I had, but I have a giant Taylor Swift cup now. I don't know. When I went to see Thanksgiving at 10 a.m., I just got like a soda, large soda, and the girl, I think, screwed up on the thing. She's like, do you want the Taylor Swift cup? And she's like, it's only 99 cents. And I don't even know why I said yes. I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, sure. But she only charged me 99 cents for the cup, which I think she was supposed to like add that on to the cost of a soda. Yeah. So I walked out of there with a cup that I still use. And I got a large Coke for $1. And that I got to thank my girl Tay for that. Other than that, I don't give a shit.
That girl probably lost her job because of that, and she's probably watching you, Sam. Like, God damn you, Sam!
I'll be better.
Why are you bringing that up live right now? So
get better at your job.
Okay, but so here's my thing, though.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go, John.
No,
I'm laggy.
I'm going to derail the hate train slightly. So,
okay. Well, the thing of it is I'm not denying like her talent, even though it's not my cup of tea at all. And I'm not trying to be like that, but I think it's just the mob mentality of, if you don't like Taylor Swift, like, what's wrong with you? Why do you not like Taylor Swift? Well, can I watch football without hearing anything about fucking Travis Kelce and her? Like, can I enjoy sports without having to deal if she's there, if she cheered for him? Like, and having these people be so vicious. Like, I don't like her. I don't like her music. I don't like country, and I don't like her mainstream pop bullshit. Like, you're the problem. You write all these songs. You're the problem, Taylor. It's not these men. It's you. Like, I can't. So
I'll give her
lyrics. Actually,
I'll give her credit for. I think anyone who's a performer that does a 3.5-hour show in a downpour in Boston, of all places, I think you deserve some credit for that, because it's Taylor Swift. She could have gone out there for 45 minutes and been like, fuck this, it's raining, I'm taking off, see you guys next year. And people probably would have still been like, oh my God, she's amazing, whatever. But she went out there and she stuck it out, and good for her. So I give her credit for that. That said, I don't give a fuck about anything else involving her. I really hate Travis Kelce and that whole fucking thing. His brother doesn't bother me, but he's a fucking
I like his brother.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes, like, just the Chiefs alone, they're the most annoying team to sort of have Taylor Swift.
Actually, that's what I should give her credit for, is making the Chiefs suck, because they've been fucking dick shit since she came around. So
so good. But I don't like the Chiefs either, but it's just and like you said, she's an artist, and to go out there and to perform for 3.5 hours in the rain, absolutely give you credit. But I'm just sick of seeing it, and I'm sick of people trying to like act like you're crazy if you don't like her, and like brainwash you to like her.
Oh yeah, I don't like her. I'm not going that far. So
yeah, that's it. I don't want to go too far, because literally Christmas shopping, I walk into Kohl's and there's a cardboard cutout of Taylor Swift, and then a couple steps later there's like a whole end cap with just Taylor Swift themed stuff, and then Taylor Swift's playing on over the loudspeaker. And I looked at my friend, I'm like, can we go?
The correct response is you go get some like neon pink and neon yellow like armbands, and you just clothesline the fuck out of that thing. Go full Ultimate Warrior on it.
Yeah.
I should have. Take my aggression out. Then I'd be posted all over the internet. It's fucking crazy, bitch. Just being on the cardboard cutout.
Great.
She also,
I'd love to be.
I believe she also like brought back has brought back like the concert movie, which I guess is good if you like that. But like, I see now, like after the success of that fucking movie, now Beyonce's doing one, and I think I heard like fucking Maroon 5 are doing one, and like I'm like, which
I actually think it's great. Here's why I think it's great. So, being sentimental for a minute, my niece wasn't able to go see him because her parents couldn't afford $4,000 or whatever to buy tickets to go see him.
Yeah,
but they can get her into a movie theater to see it, so I think that's cool. And
that's awesome.
I'm a guy that watches a lot of concerts on YouTube. Like I was watching a Run the Jewels concert on YouTube before we got on this. So I think that stuff's cool. And I remember when I went and saw the Queen movie, as much as I was like, I don't think any of this is how this fucking shit happened. I did enjoy hearing Queen songs at high volume in a theater like that, you know, for whatever it was worth. So I don't have a problem with her doing that or bringing that back. In fact, if they won't. I don't like bands that are good by commercial standards, so I'll never see it. But
I was just gonna say that, like, it would be cool to bring awesome bands in concerts in movie theaters, like Descendants, NoFX, Real Big Fish, like cool. I know, so we should have a look.
Yeah,
it is cool, like you said, though, that they are for fans to make it more accessible to see that. It's just you couldn't tie me to a chair and pay me to watch this shit. So like,
or here's a thought, just literally like
I don't have to.
let's
it's
all.
For the fans.
Oh, I cut out. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'm still cutting out.
You're back.
Everyone's swirling.
Okay, you're back.
Oh,
you're good. I think.
And you're back.
You guys are cutting out. All of a sudden, I hear, nyeh, nyeh, nyeh. It's all I hear. These little fucking noises.
That might just be that concussion again.
You're just farting in the microphone. No big deal.
All possibilities.
You guys can't smell it. I can't. I'm crying. I'm gonna be quiet.
Sean, do you want to weigh in on Taylor Swift?
I took my kids and my wife and my sisters-in-law and my niece to Detroit to go see her at wherever the hell she played, Ford Field. I just dropped them off and I drove home and I got a few hours to myself. So she's amazing.
Didn't you go to the bar with me, if I remember right?
Yeah, maybe. Because I didn't have to bring
I met
back.
you at the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. So
well,
Taylor,
I'm happy for you,
very
Sean.
much.
I'm happy that you had some time and your family enjoyed it. It's just
Yeah, no, I mean I'm with you on the whole it's like it's overexposure, and the Travis Kelce piece of it, I can't look at that guy. The only good commercial is the Mahomes and Auto is the only good thing to come out of that whole thing, and the rest of it, you know, he's on every commercial, especially if you watch football, like, and you don't watch Red Zone, you watch regular broadcast football. Him or Mahomes are on every commercial, and you can't escape it. And they play the Chiefs games are always on. Like they're not, you know, it's not like where for us, we see the line, you know, it's your local team or whatever. You might not see, I don't know, Denver play somebody, or you might not see Baltimore play somebody, or whoever, you know, not a major market team. But the Chiefs are always there and they're always on, and you have to see her. Like, it's an event to see her at these games. It's like, who gives a shit? Oh, well, viewership is up with women and yada, yada, yada. It's like, who gives a shit? I don't care who's watching the game. I'm watching the game.
Exactly. 100%. And I want to watch the game without having to like have this
inundated.
This animal in a glass cage. Like, no one cares. Like, did she even know what football was before she started dating? Fucking
I like
Travis
all the
Kelce.
theories,
like she dated Loki.
I like the theories, how they think it's like a setup, like the NFL's paying for this or something. I like those ideas. I don't think that's true, but
right, because of all the people on the fucking planet, I'm sure Taylor Swift needs the NFL's money.
Yes, exactly.
True.
All right, John, what's next? What are we talking about? Let's switch gears again here.
All right, well, we're going to talk about things we hate that we discovered this year. I have a couple things on the list. The one that I wanted to bring up first, because I think John might bring up 3 of the other things, maybe, if we're talking movies here that we watched this year. I discovered it, so John's not going to pick this one up. Tusk. Tusk has to be one of the worst movies, number one, I've ever seen. I am not the type of person to turn a movie off. Like, I will stick through thick and thin. I didn't turn this one off. I sat through it. I did sit through this one. What a piece of shit. What a massive piece of shit. Like, to steal from someone else, I would rather stuff my rectum full of M80s and crouch over a flaming hibachi than watch this movie again, like, ever. What a piece of shit.
Why do I have a visual of that?
Kevin Smith, you know, we do the thing, and we have to refer to him like every episode. But that movie, oh my god, awful. And the thing I think that made it even worse is I feel like somebody
I probably oversold
who will remain nameless talked it up a little bit. Maybe not talked it up and said it was great, but I had a little. I try to go in with low expectations. That's why I don't see the movie that we talk about until we talk about it. And yeah, I just went into it like I think I heard a little bit too much, and I'm like, oh, I heard this isn't that bad, and then I watch it, I'm like, oh my god.
I believe the way I talked up is I said it's different for a Kevin Smith movie,
Which is a fact. It is different.
I believe
maybe not now. I mean, it was different at the time. So,
Yes,
Right.
I think it's a pretty big we'll call it like a thumbtack on the board of where you can track where Kevin Smith's talent really started to dip is right there at that movie, and it's a pretty solid downward trajectory after that.
And the thing I don't understand is when you go and you look at, like, I've been looking at the horror subreddit a little bit lately, and it's come up as being a bad movie. But when movies that are of that kind, that are that bad, like when they have Defenders, oh, well, I really like Bub. It's like, how, what?
Yeah. Like,
I mean, I'm a
What
defender of some
quality?
pretty shit movies, but
I believe that movie is the reason one of my relationships ended. I was dating a girl when that came out, and like I was a huge Kevin Smith fan. I oftentimes still refer to him as my favorite director just for that like initial, like pretty much up until Tusk. But like I was like, yeah, and you know, it's gonna be like, I hyped it up to her for weeks. I was like, yeah, and it's based on this conversation they had on the podcast, and it's gonna be like dark and funny, and like it's gonna be fucked up, and Johnny Depp's in it. And I remember watching it in theater and like looking over at her and just being like, oh, you're gonna leave me. Like,
you could
If
see
it makes
the
you feel better.
respect melt off of her face for you.
I also subjected my wife to that movie in a theater, and I'm lucky that she didn't leave me. So
I believe the trajectory of that relationship and Kevin Smith's career took the same path after that movie came out.
it's funny though, because that movie came out right after Red State, which you can make a strong argument is his best film.
I really like Red State.
I do too, and I always forget about it because it's so not Kevin Smithy in so many ways. Like it's an actual film for the most part, with a story and not just dick and fart jokes. As much as those are great, it's funny though. But yeah, there is definitely a arc of like, you know, all the early stuff, and then you know the trying to make money like Jersey Girl cop out type stuff, which, Then you got Red State where he tried to go back to being an independent filmmaker, and then it's like weed tusk bam. So
Yeah, I always say like very much to quote The Crow, one of my favorite lines. He was like, "Caw caw bang, fuck, I'm dead," and it never came back. He's been dead after that.
yeah, he hasn't really. I mean, I still prefer that over him remaking his own fucking movies. I'll take Tusk over those any day. Clerks 3 and what was it, Reboot or whatever? Like those are you mentioned movies that you want to fast forward through that you couldn't get through. Those are almost to the like the only thing I can say about those two movies that the only saving grace is Danny Trejo trying to play Dante for like 2 seconds as a cameo scene. Past that, like I fucking hate both those movies to the point where I've almost erased them, but I feel like there's still a like episode we're gonna have to do where I just like let all the hatred out about Clerks 3.
We definitely have to do Clerks 3.
Yeah, which means I have to watch it again.
To watch it.
Oh, it's so fucking. Sam, do you want to come on our show and watch Clerks 3 with us?
Yeah. Let's do a Clerks 3 episode.
I will do it. I'll watch it for content. I'll do it, but for my personal enjoyment, it's hard being a Kevin Smith fan these days.
In this case, these two, personal enjoyment and Clerks 3, are not in the same category. So at least they were not for me.
Certain people like certain things. You know, some people like to have their penises stepped on with high heels. It's not my thing, but it's for somebody.
Oh my God. I don't have one, and that sounds horrible.
It's a thing.
Why? God.
I don't know why people like any of the things that they like. So
If I had a penis, like that's the last thing I'd want to do with it is have a high heel fucking stepped on it. I'd want to jerk off on random shit.
Oh my God.
Oh, that sounds awful.
I mean, like I don't have one, so I would be super excited. Like I wouldn't want a fucking high heel on it. That's stupid.
Oh, this is wonderful.
So, speaking of things that we liked in 2023, I discovered having
High
my
heels.
penis stepped on by high heels. And that's some cool shit.
You ever had that happen? Love
It
it.
was amazing. But in other news, I did like the movie Deadstream, which I missed last year and saw this year, which I don't know who else has actually seen it in this room, but
Yes.
holy shit, what a undersold, over-delivered fucking movie that is.
Absolutely. So
was-
much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Love that one.
and again, I shouldn't have even said this one because I want to make Sean watch it sooner than later, but he'll probably forget. I admittedly am not a big fan of found footage films. Like I respect what they are because I think a lot of times they're like a entryway into getting your filmmaking career rolling in so many, for lack of better wording. It's the one type of movie that pretty much anyone that has an iPhone or whatever can make. This just goes well beyond that. Like this has a character, like it's really one character. There's two characters, but there's really one character in this movie, and he's such a fucking goofy fucking dipshit of a dork of a character. But they sell him so well. Like it just fucking works so great. And the way that things unfold in this movie, I was finding it's been a long time since I've watched a movie where about halfway through I'm like, this is a really entertaining fucking movie, and I'm glad that I put this on. I don't know why I waited a year to watch it. So.
I'm with you. I had a lot of fun with it. Oh, Jordana, you go.
Oh no, I feel like a lot of movies in 2022 kind of fell through the cracks because there was so much content to choose from. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's all I was gonna say. Sam, you can say what you say.
I was just with John. I don't want to give anything too much away. Not that there really is that much to give away. It's not like a super deep movie, which I appreciated about it. But it very much felt like a found footage version of like Evil Dead 2. Like the humor is like kind of in that same slapsticky kind of vibe, while still having some decent scares to it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was a pretty good find for 2022, I believe.
100%.
Yeah, that's all I got. So.
When you said entryway, I thought you were going to say it was a really good entryway for my penis to be stepped on with a high heel. Wow.
I mean, that is
Where do I
the
see
highlight
this movie?
scene of the whole movie. Like that's.
I'm gonna ask Greg after this if that's something that he'd want done, because I will stab him in the face with a high heel.
You need to do it while wearing high heels, though.
Or just like
Scared
slam one on the table and be like, you into this?
Is this something you like?
This doing anything for you?
Oh my
That makes
God.
it sound like you're just assaulting him. That sounds horrible.
I meant like a table. Like you hit the table first. I don't know.
You like that?
All right, well, I'll pick the next one here, I guess. I don't. Do I want to do a hate one or a like? All right, let's pull in the positive train here. I saw Cobweb. Has anyone seen Cobweb?
Oh, I'm on the opposite side of that.
Yeah, that's one I didn't bring up.
Oh,
Yeah.
See, I actually did enjoy Cobweb. I didn't think it was like 10 out of 10 or anything. For whatever reason, why I liked it is I really truthfully wasn't that into what the hell was the Stephen King's little nepotism movie about the black phone. I felt like this
kids movie.
Yeah, I felt like this was a better version of that movie. Like because it's very similar and like, you know, what's going on. I was a little disappointed with the ending, but I all in all, I actually had fun with it, and I really like the actress. I forget her name, the one from
Cleopatra.
Lizzie Kaplan.
Oh,
yeah,
not
I love
Cleopatra
her
Jones
so
or
much.
whatever her name is.
yeah. But I had fun with it. It's one that I caught like right at the end of the Halloween season, so maybe I was just in the right mood. But what were your guys' thoughts on it? Because it sounds like it's on the opposite side.
It's in my bottom 2 of the year.
Woo!
It's pushing for no. It's in a, I don't know, a fight for life with It's a Wonderful Knife for the worst movie of the year.
I like that movie too.
Oh my God.
I watched it the other day and had a big smile on my face.
So for me, I hated that there was like, we did an episode on that, and my big takeaway, and I don't politic for this often, but I thought it would have been way better if they kind of held back and turned it into a PG-13 made for kids horror movie, kind of like in the vein of Monster Squad or something like that, which you never see anymore. You never see a movie that's a horror movie that is specifically for kids. You get like Hotel Transylvania and shit like that, but like an actual movie with actors, not just voice actors and whatnot. I hated that everything in it. I was like, I feel like I'm just seeing bits of things from other movies that have been hodgepodge together in this in a less attractive package. I was not a huge fan of the Black Phone either, and I got a lot of vibes of the Black Phone, which didn't really sell me on it. At least for me, with the Black Phone, I liked the overall look of the bad guy, like the weird fucked up mask and all that shit. Even his, like, you know, Diddler costume or whatever he was.
I hope his name was the Diddler.
Yeah, it'd be a better name. I think it was like the Grabber, which is pretty much the same thing.
It was the Dog Diddler.
The dog, the Red Rocket Dog Diddler.
RRDD.
Just spray painted outside of his van. RDD. Straight out of Idaho.
Why do I envision a dog with like a mask and like a red rocket just standing there being like, we're like,
and
the dude diddling it
in high heels. So,
yes. That's a bonus.
It's all the stuff that was in that movie. I felt like I had seen before in movies that I also was not crazy about, and kind of smashing them all together didn't make sense to me. I do generally like Lizzie Kaplan. She didn't do anything in this movie, like, period, for me. Like, aside from wear some contacts and run up a hallway, like, what else happens in this fucking movie? The kids were uninteresting, and even when you get to the last, like, the third act of the movie, where basically everything of interest happens in the fucking movie, by that point, I'm like, I'm already fucking checked out. Like, this stupid spider bitch is, like, not interesting. You want to take me out of a movie I'm already not into, make a big CGI, like, fucking dipshit B movie looking. By B movie, I mean the Jerry Seinfeld B movie, not like B as in the kind of movie I like.
The letter B.
What's the deal with these spiders?
Exactly. Like, the whole movie, it was
HHRRDD.
There wasn't a whole lot to take away in it that I liked. And fuck it. So yeah, it's in my bottom 2 of the year.
Fair enough. It wasn't one I loved, but I had fun with it the other day, and I wanted to bring it up because I'm about to shit on something here in a little bit, but
it's probably on my like list.
I honestly, I didn't mind it, but like you said, John, like, and I talked to you about it, Sam, the CGI really, like, if people invested in actually having practical effects, I think a lot of movies might not be as bad. Like, I know that there's also a lot of layers to a movie being bad, but I think if people like listen and thought, just do something practical, and that might change or persuade someone to have some sort of interest in it, that might be a thing. I mean,
how many
like
movies
Boogeyman,
how many movies have we all watched that are objectively terrible, but it's got that one weird physical thing in it that you're like, well, that just sold the whole fucking movie. Like, this is a horrible example because I actually like this movie, but like Basket Case, like, that whole movie is based off a weird fucking blob in a goddamn basket. And that sells the
It's
whole
awesome.
movie.
It's amazing.
It is. It's a great movie. That's why it's a bad example, because I can't think of one off the top of my head where the movie was terrible, but the creature was fucked up enough that it kept my attention.
Yeah.
Just putting an actual thing in there, even if it's a bad looking, like if it's a shit show, like if it's a puppet with a hand up its ass, fine. At least I can laugh at that. There's nothing to laugh at with a, like, you know, Pixar looking cartoon spider.
It was so bad. And like,
go right
Sam.
ahead. No, go right ahead.
So like, and I'm not saying that the void is bad, but you know what I mean? Like the scene with the creature at the end when it's chasing and it kind of looks like it's stilty. You know what I mean? Like when it's moving, as even with that, it's still a solid movie because like the acting wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. And it was a decent storyline. And even with you seeing that it's clearly a practical effect, it still worked, you know, and then you get movies like this where you kind of see where they're going. And I can appreciate that because I wasn't mad at the story. I wasn't mad with like the plot. I think a lot of things fell through and the practical effect was.
I think a practical effect can really stick with you as well.
Mhm.
I think me and Jordana, we talked about this movie recently. You guys ever see The Ritual on Netflix?
I don't think I have.
I'll be
The
honest.
Ritual?
Yeah, I know you're a fan.
Yes. I love it.
But I will say this. I watched it and I remember enjoying it, but I remember dick all of nothing about the movie from beginning to end, what the storylines are, what even happens in the movie. But at the very end, there is one of the coolest looking like practical effect creatures I've ever seen. And like, I will remember that movie on my deathbed, like because of that. Despite not knowing what the fuck happened in the movie, I will always remember that scene. So like, there's something to be said about, like you said, that those moments that stick out to you.
Well, like The Ritual is a good movie because when you're watching it, like you said, you don't remember, but like you didn't expect that. Like I thought it was going to go completely one way with the direction it was going. And then when we got that creature, I was like, I was so excited. I'm like, holy shit, like this is amazing. Because the storyline wasn't bad. The acting was good for a Netflix horror movie. Because let's be real, Netflix horror isn't, movie-wise, isn't the best. But like you said, I remember that I can see it right now as we're talking, and I want to watch it again because of it.
Yeah, I agree.
John, how did you feel about Cobweb?
Loved it. No, that when we went around the last time, that's one I didn't mention because I figured you'd bring it up.
Yeah, it was on my hate list for sure.
Yeah, it was on my lower tier list.
I'm glad we're firing on all cylinders, boys.
All right, Jordana, are you up next? That was Sam.
I am, and yes, I'm gonna do like a back-to-back, but I'm gonna keep it short. So I think a poo-poo thing was the disappointment I had in the horror movies that were released this year, because a lot of my highly anticipated ones I ended up not liking at all. And it wasn't like because it was, you know, a popular movie. I was excited, like Evil Dead Rise. That was my most anticipated movie of this year, and I could not stand it. I just still I try to get into it. We try to watch it with our in-laws. What do you do? What happened?
He scratched it off his list. And I'm assuming it was on the bottom.
Oh,
To be fair, this is the poo-poo line, so it is in the poo-poo category.
yeah.
It's in my liked
I'm glad I'm not the only
category.
one poo-pooing
but
on it.
It's in my liked. That's one of the in my top movies of the year.
See, and
All right.
I think
Podcast,
mine is
podcast
just,
against podcast. Jordana, let's go.
And go.
I think my biggest gripe with that one was I was expecting a 2013 version of it, and we got the cheese grater, and you know, you're thinking, oh god, it's a family, it's going to be even more, you know, serious, because yes, it was family, but like friends, and it's just the sole focus is family. I felt like it was like a PG-13 made for kid movie. Just for me, I was expecting way more gore. I hated the girl, oh my tummy hurts. I was like, oh, please, let's.
The little kid.
Yeah, when she's swallowing the glass and she, turns around and set. I think it would have been a lot scarier if she just would have had the glass like move through her throat, rip it open, and her just stare at her or something, or like swear. I don't know, but my tummy. That's when I sat in my chair and I'm like, there's no coming back from this. And I was so bummed out. And then I got the one swipe of the cheese grater, and then that solidified my distaste for it. And I'm pissed. I wanted to like it.
I'll agree with you that they oversold the cheese grater because it is kind of gnarly, but there was posters that the cheese grater was like part of the poster. I was like, well, that's kind of overselling it because it's not that big a scene.
Evil Dead Rise starring the cheese grater.
They handed them out at the premiere.
Yeah, they handed them out.
Shut up. Are you serious?
I think that's kind of awesome, but also like overselling it. But I mean, I would love to have an Evil Dead cheese grater. I'm not going to lie. So
I have a shred.
Exactly, but like,
no, also cool. But I will say the hallway scene through the peephole where she fucking hurls a child from one side of the screen to another.
Yeah.
That right there. I like any movie where you're going to have a demon hurl a child. I'm fine with. So
if you like demons sucking kids, child. I don't know if you have seen When Evil Lurks, but that's all I'm going to say with that one.
That's newer, right? That came out this year, right?
Yep, and that's another one that I feel like was super hyped up, and I'm not saying I didn't like it because it was on my top list, but I felt like it was super hyped to be like, oh, it's the scariest movie ever made. And when I watched it, there's some super unsettling scenes. You know what I mean? But then it was like kind of...
I don't know who's burping, but I think it's funny.
Oh, that was me. I thought that was muted. I'm sorry.
I know, I moved and then I hear... And I'm like, this is going perfect with my hands. People are gonna think I'm farting again, but I don't know. That's like my gripe with it. But then to flop it to a positive of 2023 was the ones that I was not expecting to like. I really enjoyed, like Boogeyman, Pet Sematary, Bloodlines, and I know I'm gonna get hate for that, but I did not hate that movie. I don't know.
I didn't watch it.
I guess I don't understand. I didn't understand the hatred, but a lot of the movies that were like heavily hated on, I didn't mind. So that's like positive of 2023, I guess.
I haven't seen the Pet Sematary Bloodlines, but yeah, I think like I was pleasantly surprised by some of the movies that came out this year, which I'm going to take another leap here because I have a feeling it might be on someone's hate list, but fuck it. Like I thought the same thing about like Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm not going to go on a thing about it, but like I went into that with like so little expectations, and maybe that's why, but at the end I was like, that was fun. It was a fun movie. And like that kind of stuff. I think the movies that I had high expectations for under-delivered, and the ones that I had no expectations for over-delivered.
I just watched Five Nights at Freddy's a day or two ago, and it was fine. Like, I don't hate or love it. Like, if I were gonna put it on like a like or hate, like if that's the options, I'd put it on the like side. But it's fine. I would have liked to have seen that movie push a little harder, but I don't think that was what it was going for. So I guess that's just me being an asshole, more than anything. It's fine. I also would have liked to seen more Matthew Lillard in it. I'm like, oh, apparently he doesn't have to be Stu all the time or Steve all the time. Like he can actually dial it back a little bit. Yeah, I had no problem with that movie, but it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Sean, you're up.
All right. So this isn't a horror movie, but I'm going to go back to the positive side, be a little more positive. I sent a message to John, I don't know, last week about this Sisu from 2022, which is like, it's like a Die Hard, it's like a World War II Die Hard movie, essentially, about this guy who's kind of shunned war or whatever, and is it Sweden or Norway? And
I need to see it still, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just tell you. An ex-soldier who discovers gold in the Lapland wilderness tries to take the loot into the city. Nazi soldiers, led by a brutal SS officer, battle him. And it's very like, I don't know. It doesn't you have to super suspend your disbelief because this guy gets totally destroyed multiple occasions by Nazis, but he comes back and kind of Sisu is like basically it's an untranslatable term. Again, I think in Norwegian that means like grit. It's basically grit. And it's about this guy who through against all odds just wants to take his gold to the town to claim it, like to get money for it. And he gets met by these Nazis on the road.
Is it Warwick Davis?
No, it is not. It's actually, the funny thing is almost the entire cast are people from God, what is that movie? The movie that we watched last year. No. Last year we watched Rare Exports. It's like the kid from that movie is in the movie. The dad is the main character from that movie is in this one. So it was just a really, like, John is very much a proponent of turn your brain off, watch this movie, enjoy it kind of thing. And I am kind of more like, I don't know, 70-30. What's that?
Be depressed and angry and like miserable about a movie.
That's kind of my MO. So, but this movie was, I mean, yeah, pay attention to it for sure. But it was a movie that just, I had kind of seen it and saw posters for it and had heard things about it, but not really read much in depth about it. But just the things that happen in the movie, there's a specific scene that happens like right near the end of the movie. And I think when it happened, I texted John and I was like, John, this is a movie that you have to watch this. This is a movie you have to watch because I think it's a movie, like knowing John as I do, I think it's a movie that he would think was pretty awesome. And it just really kind of blew me away. I was not expecting I go into movies with low expectations. I don't have much, faith in most of the stuff. And when you watch something that blows your expectations out of the water, it's kind of cool, that you're like, oh, this is a really cool movie. But just it's like Die Hard meets shit. I don't know, something. But yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I don't know if anybody else saw it.
I think that should be the tagline on the poster. It's like Die Hard and something.
And some other shit.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I saw the trailer and I really want to see it actually because I got strong like John Wick vibes out of it.
Yeah, a little bit.
But like I haven't seen it yet. But I very much am interested in checking that out because it just looks like a crazy over the top like action movie.
Finland, I remember not Norway or Sweden. Finnish.
I remember getting Inglourious Bastard vibes off of it from the trailer, but I haven't seen it yet. But that's a good thing because I loved Inglourious Bastard. So
yeah, I read somebody like on IMDb, the feature review, the title, I'm not going to read all of it, just says Finnish John Wick.
Oh,
so it's kind of and I think I did see other things along those lines of like, oh yeah, it's Inglourious Bastards if it wasn't a Tarantino movie, basically.
I still haven't seen any of the John Wick movies, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad
really
thing.
I haven't either.
Not a damn one.
I've seen the first. Did 4 just come out? Is 4 the one that just came out? I didn't see 4, but I saw the first 3.
I saw the first 3. I put them in the same category as I put like the Fast and the Furious movies, which if that's your thing,
yeah, they're fun.
They're good. Turn your brain off and just watch cool shit happen. Like
yeah,
and I'm
martial
fine
arts
with
with
that.
guns,
I
essentially.
Just haven't gotten around. I have no problem with movies like that, but it's not something I like rush out to see either. Obviously, since there's 20 of them and I haven't seen them yet. So I also haven't seen a Fast and the Furious movie since the first one. So take that for what it's worth.
I think when 5 or 6 came out, I marathoned all those so I could see the new one. So I would be up to date because I,
because I'm sure you need to see the first 9 to understand 10. So
yeah, for sure.
Hey, I've got the box set and there's a lot of storylines in there. All right. But they're done.
You need to know what happens to Han,
Yeah. The absolutely absurd fucking timeline that you have to follow in this movie. It's crazy, but yeah.
So it's like the Halloween of racing cars.
It's like they almost didn't know it was going to turn into $1 billion franchise, so they did some stupid shit early on in the movies that have fucked up the timeline for the rest of the whole franchise, and they're constantly they're constantly having to like go back and like fuck with shit.
But they totally knew the whole time. That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So movies that I like that I discovered this year. This is not a new movie, but this is quite possibly the most exquisite piece of cinema that I found this year. The movie Never Too Young to Die, which stars, of all people, Gene Simmons as Velvet Von Ragnar, the hermaphrodite evil overlord of like fucking dipshit Arizona. Which, holy shit, what a fucking great movie! Like, it's got Freddy Krueger in it, being a scientist for some reason. It's got, again, Gene Simmons as a hermaphrodite doing strip teases. It's got John Stamos. I think he does some karate bullshit or something. Just everything about this. This was the movie that we've now started what will be a in perpetuity. Crummy Movie March is now my favorite month of the year because we just watch the worst shit we can find. And Sean and I were at a bar one morning, and yes, it was morning. We were at a bar. Don't judge me. Don't judge Sean. Judge someone
you can
else.
Judge me. It's fine.
That's amazing. I'm proud of you guys.
He goes, "You're not going to believe the movie I found last night." I'm like, "Okay," which that's like a common, sentiment between us is you're not going to believe this bullshit that I found last night. He goes, "It stars Gene Simmons as a hermaphrodite." I was like, "Wait, what?" And right there, I was like, "What? When can we watch this movie? Like, this needs to happen." And holy shit, talk about a movie that just delivers on nothing that it promised in all the best ways possible. So, Sam, I get the impression that you've seen this movie.
No, I am aware of its existence, but it's kind of funny how things come full circle. The very first conversation that I ever had with you two guys, it was you were literally telling me, I think it was before we did our first episode, like the preamble, bullshitting back and forth. And I really didn't know you guys all that well at that time, but as you guys were like, yeah, we're getting ready to do this movie next week or something. And you were like, I don't even know if you had seen it at that point yet, but you're like, yeah, it's this movie that stars John Stamos and it's this, that, and the other thing. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to get along just fine with these two guys.
I'm glad that the love of crap can bond us so closely.
Yeah, the icebreaker.
Right. So, all right. Sean, do you want to? I know has anyone else seen this aside from me and Sean?
I have not.
Okay.
Has anyone else in the world seen this movie besides you and Sean?
So, 2024 resolutions. Add that to your resolution list. Watch Never Too Young to Die. It's a fucking masterpiece in all the worst ways possible.
Absolutely.
So we're about an hour and a half in. I think we should do a kind of lightning round, just kind of rattle off some honorable mentions because otherwise we'll be here all night. And then we can do one more round of just like a final pick, like whatever your favorite thing was for the year or least favorite thing, whatever you want to do. So Sam, do you want to rattle off some honorable mentions?
All right, let's get the shit list done here. Honorable mention, The Nun 2, None Ya Business. That sucked.
What you're getting? None.
Slaughterhouse, Go to Sleep. I fucking know.
I kind of like Slaughterhouse. I wish it was an R-rated movie, but I kind of liked it.
Slaughterhouse
I had fun with it.
Is a movie about a sloth who kills people.
I loved it.
I wanted to like it so much because the premise was stupid, but like, I don't know.
Look, the cardinal sin is you have a slasher movie featuring a murdering sloth in a sorority house, and it's PG-13, so there's no nudity in it, which is, yes, a cardinal sin in this kind of movie.
Yes.
That said, it's entertaining for what it is.
My biggest issue with it was that I don't know. To me, like, I love a bad movie that's made in earnest. Oh, I know what my number one new movie is. I just popped in my brain. That was the best movie I've seen all year. Anyway, I love a bad movie that's made in earnest. But when you make a bad movie and you're like really tongue-in-cheeking, like I was like, okay, like at the end by like spoiler alert for Slaughterhouse, like the fucking
Yeah.
thing is driving like a Camaro, and it like puts on a
It's like a Barbie
seatbelt.
car.
It like puts on a seatbelt, and like it has like ninja powers. I just couldn't do it. So that's gonna be on my shit list. And then
Sam, were you sober when you watched it?
no, absolutely not.
Okay, I was not either. Maybe I thought maybe that's where you went wrong.
Most of these movies are watched on my my drinking night. And then the last one I'll say, I just thought Hell House, whatever the fuck they called this one, was it can go to hell. It was a bad, boring movie. And I truly also dislike the entire franchise, but I keep giving them chances, and they keep fucking letting me down. So that is my lightning round of the movies I hated.
Jordana?
So I'm gonna end my lightning round on a positive, and of course, I mean, how else would I end my lightning round talking to Sean, you, and Sam? And I think you guys are gonna know which direction I'm going. But I'm really stoked that we got
I know
our
exactly
free
where you're
teaser
going.
and getting to see Art as Santa Claus. Like, that is the highlight of my year. I am so fucking excited for next year. That's all
Your
I gotta
highlight
say.
of this year is that next year's gonna have a good movie.
Yes, because this year has been, it's rough. This has not been an enjoyable year for movies for me. Like, nothing has really been like groundbreaking except for Thanksgiving. I really truly enjoyed Thanksgiving, and I really enjoyed, watched it last night, ate a gummy, which I think intensified it, but watched Leave the World Behind, and I really liked that one too.
That's the one with Julia
But-
Roberts, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
and
Ethan Hawke.
the way it was shot, and Kevin Bacon's in it too, which is super cool and weird at the same time. But I like the way the movie was shot, and it felt very signsy. It had that lingering feeling of something's gonna happen, with like moments of stuff coming together, scares. I don't know. I don't know how to describe that movie. Have you guys seen it?
No.
Not yet.
I thought it was beautifully done. But the highlight of my 2023 is aimed for 2024, when I get to see Art on the big screen with his big fat fucking sack ripping people up. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. That's it. I can't wait.
I'm gonna put it out there now.
don't
I
wanna
can't
know
wait
what's
for
in that sack.
2025 when you force Sean to watch it. So
It's gonna happen, Sean. That's what happens when we're friends. Is
Let's
I'm just
do
gonna
it.
make you.
Let's do it.
Yes. Yes.
Why the hell
Okay.
not?
That just made me super excited. So
just think of how many times you get to bring up Art the Clown between now and when that movie comes out.
I know, and I really hope that this one is so good that Sean is like, wow, that clown changed my mind. Like, I actually like Sandy Art.
He took off his headphones, so I don't think he's gonna think that. So-
Where's my headphones?
I know. Listen, I can have a dream, and let's hope.
I just hope that there's actually a story that makes somewhat like bit of sense in this one. Anything. So
I don't know if we'll get it. Honestly, I can't even say that, because you could say, yeah, like that's gonna happen, but I already heard that he's getting rid of the glowing sword. So who knows like what's being rewritten, what's gonna be added in the storyline. But I'm just remaining hopeful, because I don't know. Like, I think he's promising for a new slasher. And yes, Damien Leone needs an editor. He needs to have a cohesive storyline, but I'm praying that's what we get with this one. If not, we get Art in a Christmas setting, and I like Christmas slashers, so we'll see.
touche. Sean, lightning round.
All right, lightning
Stuff you wanna
round.
rattle off?
Yeah, I got a few. Best movies that I wrote down for this year: The Void. We kind of touched on that for a second. Jaws and Chinatown were on that list. Talk to Me. Really enjoyed Talk to Me this year. Kind of. I liked it. I don't know if I loved it, but it is on the list. It was a good movie. I just think that there could have been a little bit more TV things I didn't talk about. Some of the things I really enjoyed were How To with John Wilson, which is like a documentary style television show that they kind of intersperse clips that he's found. Like he just takes videos all around New York and they try and fit it in the story. We had Last of Us, which I enjoyed the game, enjoyed the series. Winning Time, The Rehearsal from Nathan Fielder. I'm a big Nathan Fielder fan. And on my worst list that I did not talk about is Suitable Flesh, the movie with Heather Graham and some other people I can't be bothered to remember. Paranormal Highway. That's a really piece of shit that I discovered this year. Thanks, John. And Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
From Podcast in the Woods.
Gabby, Podcast in the Woods. Thanks for Paranormal Highway. And Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was a flaming pile of shit.
Sean, you said that you usually give movies a chance. That's one movie that I did shut off, and I'm the same as you. I'll give it a chance.
Winnie the Pooh?
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it was fucking bad.
I stopped that one.
If we weren't going to talk about it, I probably wouldn't have finished it.
Fair.
So I actually...
Go ahead.
I've seen a bunch of movies from the people that made Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, so that movie was exactly what I expected. That said, it's also on my hate list, so, take that for what it's worth. So.
Yeah.
Sounds like I'm the only one who dodged that turd, so I'm happy about that.
You should watch it.
See, I mean, you
should watch it. Hated it, but you should watch it for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. All the way through.
I turned it off, but you should watch it.
Right. Watch it 2 times.
You might like it.
Not gonna go that far. So. All right, so we've kind of exhausted the hate train that I have written down, at least. There's plenty of stuff I don't care to write down. As far as stuff that I like that I found this year for the first time, I found the Creep movies, both 1 and 2 this year, which I liked more than I expected to. It's amazing what happens when you put an actual actor in a movie like that, so that's good. I found the movie Reform School Girls, which is basically a bunch of women in their underwear fighting in a prison-like setting for an hour and a half. Pretty great. Yep, it's on Tubi.
Sam's like adding to my list right now.
If you want to go the opposite route and have the least horny movie that you can find, the movie Street Trash is also available on Tubi, and that movie involves bums, drugs, and neon poop and shit. I don't know. It's not great.
I love Street Trash.
The only movie I've ever gotten yelled at by my fiance for watching.
It's fair. It's a lot. I mean, the first 2 minutes is all just running dicks. So
she was just so disgusted by the whole movie and the premise. She's like, and I watched some fucked up shit, and she's like, this is awful. And I mean, and I was like, well, I'm like, it's not any worse than I'm like, no, she's like, this is bad for humanity. She's like, this is not a movie that should exist.
This is one of the few movies I can say that I watched where Sean was like, I've been wanting to watch that for years. I'm like, okay, well, beat you to something. So, speaking of Sean, thank you for Ninja 3, The Domination. That was one of the most insane, ridiculous, and thoroughly fucking entertaining movies that I've watched in a long time. And as far as old movies, this isn't that old. It's only a couple of years old, but it is on Tubi, and I strongly suggest that if you're going to take an edible and watch something, watch the movie Butt Boy. It is about a man who learns that he can inhale things with his ass. And the last 5 minutes of this movie makes all of that premise just fucking wonderful. So, and then as for this year, 2023 releases, I'm with Sean. I really enjoyed Winning Time. That's really the only linear story show that really builds on what it did last that I really enjoyed. I did like this season of It's Always Sunny. I thought it was great that they finally showed what was behind the door in Charlie's apartment, and there was a whole another fucking apartment in there. It was great. I have a soft spot for Cocaine Bear. I know it's not a good movie, but it has cocaine and a bear, and I was amused by that. It still would have been better, like everyone says, if they had just had a bear, a guy in a bear suit doing cocaine. Would have been way better. But I'll take what I can get. And Ray Liotta, rest in peace. So, And then for me, this was actually a pretty good music year, especially if you like ska music. I really love the new Jay Navarro and the Traders album. The new Omnigon album is fantastic. Mustard Plug's new album is insanely good. And the Slackers album, it's an EP. It's called Kill You. It's basically 2 songs about killing white supremacists. Fucking great.
Oh.
But musically, the best thing I heard all year by far, and arguably the best thing I've heard in the last like several years, is the Co-Defendants album. It's just called This Is Crime Wave, and it's all over the place. We did a whole album, like a whole episode breaking down every song on it, and it is still an album that I listen to at least 5 times a week. It's fucking amazing. I guess the only other movie I would really say from this year that I would bring attention to is Mithrigan, which was like, I don't know if that it's listed as a 2022 release, but I'm pretty sure it came out in January. So I know that's when we talked about it. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Like, it's one of those movies that I watched and I'm like, I'm not mad that I watched this. This is fine. So
I'm surprised that's on your list.
Well, I was kind of stretching for things I actually like that were new to 2023. So, and it made it based off that state. Yeah. And truthfully, it takes the concept of a movie like Chucky and it just does it better. It executes it better. And well, I don't know if there's any Chucky fans in the room, but it executes it better than what, in my opinion, Chucky ever did.
You realize this whole time you've been talking, I did not realize you were talking about Megan. This whole time, I'm like, I was like, I've never heard of this movie. I'm like, I'm like, all right. And then as he's going, I'm like, this sounds a lot like that movie I watched.
So, all right. So let's start wrapping up. So Sam, what do you want to have as your number one, whether it's hate, like, or whatever? How do you want to wrap up 2023?
There's only one thing I can talk about that was by far the best piece of media I consumed for the first time in 2023. This might be a movie that's on your radar. If not, put it on your fucking radar, boys. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Jordana, I already gushed to her about it, how much I loved this movie. I saw Birdemic Shock and Terror for the first time.
Yes.
I love the title. Look at that. You got Sean leaving.
I gotta know, Sean, have you
gotta wait till he puts his headphones back on.
I gotta know, Sean, have you seen this? Is it on your radar?
It's his favorite.
It's a trauma movie, right?
I've seen
it. Wasn't Birdemic trauma?
There's not a new one, right? It's still the same one from.
Well, they've made 2 sequels.
Okay, but this is the original.
The original. It was it's a movie that was made, and he made it in earnest. Like, that's why, again, he thought this was a good movie, and it's insane. I love The Room, like with Tommy Wiseau, but this movie fucking puts that movie to shame with how horrendous it is, but in just the most alien, weird way I've ever seen. I was watching it, and I will say it's a huge thing for me. Like, my fiance does not like the same type of shit I like for these movies. She put down her headphones or whatever the fuck she was doing. She's like, what the fuck is this? And then she watched the whole movie with me, and we laughed our balls off. Go check it out. I cannot tell you how amazingly funny this is. If you like bad movies to make fun of, it is alien. The birds don't show up for 43 fucking minutes, and it's still amazing. Go check it out.
You showed me a clip, and it's perfection. It's so fucking good. It is so good.
John,
in the worst way.
The special effects, they literally just draw the birds. They hand draw the birds.
I'm sold.
It's amazing.
I'm sold.
No,
it's rocketing to the top of my never-ending to watch list.
We will never talk about this, John, because I never want to watch it again.
The dialogue is amazing.
Never happening.
This is a line of dialogue in the movie. Where's Jenny at? She's taking a shit. It's amazing. I love it. And Sean,
that's some really good writing.
I would argue it was better written than Exorcist Believer, but all right.
I will give you that. Yes.
In fairness, Sean, you also said you would never watch Jaws, and that's changed recently. So
I don't know if I said I'd never watch it.
no, if I remember right, the exact wording was "fuck you." I'm
Fuck off.
never watching that movie.
And you watched
maybe.
it, and
I
you
did.
liked it.
I did.
See? And now that we have
this is the thing. This is the thing. I don't like to talk about myself, but this is the great thing about me. I can admit when I'm wrong.
I just like that all our old married couple like arguments have made it to this illustrious podcast where I'm like, no, you said this.
I didn't say that.
Josh,
No
knock
way.
it off.
Oh, I am gonna get my dick stepped on by some high heels later. I know it. So,
But that could be in a pleasurable way or non. So, what do you?
so speaking of top of 2023, Jordana, high heels and all, what do you want to go with?
My dick was stepped on hard by Thanksgiving, and I'm super happy. So, like, boner status. I love that
boner
movie.
time.
It's boner time. I love John Carver. I think he's going to be, with the sequel already coming, I think that he could be another promising slasher, which I've been wanting new slashers. So I hope that this momentum keeps going. A fun time, good kills, good casting. Eli Roth knows horror because he loves it, and you can really truly see it in this movie. So that was the top of my list. Top of my list, just for like something that happened in 2023 from a movie in the past, was Greg finding Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and literally keeps saying to me, "Garbage day!" Like at any point in time, just to get his cool points, because I'm like, I know, like, how have you not seen that? So that's top of my list. And the top of my
There's
bottom
much
would
love for
be,
Garbage Day in this room. So
yes, it's even like the scenes where he's talking to the therapist and just everything. I see him like looking over at me, just smiling. I'm like, how have you never seen this? And then I'm just bummed like that so many horror movies were not it. Wasn't my bag this year. So that's like, I'm not gonna single like movies, just a lot of them really didn't hit for me. So that's sad. That's all I got.
You got Terrifier 3 to look forward to.
You fucking right, Sean. And we are gonna watch it and we're gonna talk about it. So
I think one of the questions of the
I know
week
you're
we
so
asked
excited.
was something like, what are you looking forward to? And John was like, oh, and Jordana says Terrifier 3. And I think my quote was, do better. Jordana,
Yeah,
do better,
you
please.
did say it. I heard it. I loved it. I'm trying to do better, Sean, but that's the best I can do. So take it or leave it.
we'll take
Appreciate
it. Sean,
the only movie I didn't mention that I had on my list, and it's not necessarily the best or the worst, but it was definitely on the higher end. Something I discovered this year was the 1989, you know, because I live in the 80s and love all these fucking trash movies. Nightmare Beach.
Cheers.
If it's not on your radar,
Oh,
watch Nightmare Beach. It's a great combination of a slasher / 80s teen movie, like the, you know, Porky's. I don't know if there's that much nudity in it, but that whole kind of teen comedy feel with a slasher vibe to it.
I gotta say, one of my favorite things of recording with Sam is whenever we bring up a random fucking thing and he starts like making notes as to what's going
Yeah, I just screenshotted that. That will be getting searched tonight.
Yeah, Nightmare Beach was super fun, super
Good
stupid.
movie. Yep.
Really not the best acted, and it's got some names. I just pulled it up just to look. It has John Saxon, of course, B movie in every B movie you can think of. Michael Parks, who was in Tusk,
He plays a cop.
we talked about earlier. Some other people that I don't recognize at all, so that's a good thing. Generally, it's just a ridiculous, super stupid movie, but it's fun as hell.
Is it on Tubi?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I'm gonna watch that.
If it's not, we'll find it somewhere where we can make sure you see it. So,
based on what I'm looking at, I'm just gonna guess it's on Tubi. I kind of just inherently guessed it was gonna be on Tubi. You gotta look at a movie and go, I know where to find that.
Yeah. So I forgot to mention in my lightning round, I did thoroughly enjoy the movie Murder Size, which was a 2023 release, and I know there's only one person on right now, but I want to bring it up if anyone goes back and watches it. Please go watch that because we're going to be talking about it soon, and I hope that people see it so that they know what the fuck we're talking about. But that's on Tubi.
It's on my list actually because that A&P film company,
They're great. They're fucking great.
They are pretty great. And I very much want to see it to support them. So I'm with you, and it looked really good.
It's yes, I loved it. So but the movie that I would say was my favorite thing that I saw this year is also a very independent film, technically a fan film. It is Never Hike Alone 2 from Womp Stomp Films, and I would say this is arguably I really like the remake, but with the exception of the remake of Friday the 13th, this is the best Friday the 13th movie since like part 6. It is
Wow.
It pairs better with the first one because the first one's only like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. And it's like a simple little it's almost like a paranoia take on Friday the 13th based off. It shows a really good example of what you could do with this IP if you just gave someone with a new idea, like something to do with it, and it works really well. The second one still has Tom Matthews because he's in fucking everything and he's great. But the second one is basically a straight up Friday the 13th movie. Jason's back and he's fucking killing people. And I'm a slappy and I will take anything that has Jason Voorhees in it killing fucking people. So it's free. It's on YouTube. I strongly recommend that anyone check it out. Watch it if you like Jason. If you don't like Jason, you just like independent film. Watch it for that. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It's not that long, and as Sean mentioned, I like to turn off my brain and watch stupid things, and I'm not going to call this stupid, but I like watching Friday the 13th films, and this is right in that ballpark, and it's going to be a while before we actually get a legitimate Friday the 13th film, so I'm going to take what I can get while I can.
Makes sense. I'm going to check that out.
So
yeah, I liked Never Hike Alone. That was really good.
Yeah, it's totally different take on the whole Friday the 13th lore because it's really just based off like two characters. I think it's essentially all that's really in the movie. There's Jason and Guy, whatever his name is. Shows how important he is. But this one is not that. Like I kind of went into it thinking it was going to be like a extension of the first one. And it kind of is in that the first character's in it, but that's about it. Like other than that, it's a Friday the 13th film, and it's fucking great. So I can't recommend it unless you don't like Jason, and you're wrong. I can't recommend it strong enough. So
I'm gonna have to add that to the list as well.
So anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up? We're starting to push on that 2-hour mark.
I'm good. I've got all the craziness I have in me.
I mean, I could literally sit and talk to you guys for hours, but I'm sure everyone doesn't want to hear that. Oh, yes, we could go on about Scream for hours.
Sean's going to take his headphones off and leave and just have an empty
let me know when
square
you're
up
done,
there.
guys. Just send me a text.
John, we'll have to have our own little episode about Birdemic another time.
We should do that.
We all need to watch it and then do an episode.
I'm telling you, we need to watch it just so they make another one. Okay.
Holy shit! We've had 4 views in a month. Make 2. Love it. So, all right. So I want to let Sam and Jordana, in whichever order they choose, please tell everyone where they can find both of you and all your projects, shit, stuff, whatever you want to call it. Let them know where you can find you.
Jordana, I'll let you with the high heels go ahead and stamp on everyone's dicks and tell them where they can find us.
You want me to get stomping? I can get stomping. So Sam and I have Feature Creatures DTF. You could find us on Spotify, Apple, or whatever, Apple Podcasts, IG, TikTok, all those fun platforms, and the same for Pretty Killer Podcast.
What she said. It's the same thing. IG, TikTok, all that stuff, and just follow us on Instagram. That's mostly where we promote all our stuff.
Yes.
So for us, you can find us on pretty much every fucking social media. It's annoying, but we're all over the place. If you search Dewey Pod Monster on a social media platform, you're probably going to find us. That's us. Same logo everywhere, whatever. You can also find us. We're now members of the You Run Podcast Network, so you can find us on yourunpodcast.town. Of course, you can find all our old episodes at crap.town. And we have this YouTube channel with like 1 or 2 things on it, which if you're watching this, you can go back and watch those too. And then, certainly not least, first in all our hearts, Sean, what do you got going on?
Nothing. Find us at crap.town.
That was perfect. Nothing.
So that's it. That's 2023 and a big ball of steaming shit. Nothing. Find us at crap.town. Please check out Sam and Jordana on. I'm choking because I'm an idiot. Please check out Sam and Jordana on everything. And yeah. Furthermore, send both of us messages. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Send Sean and I messages, send Jordana, send Sam, whoever you can find. Let us know what you want to talk about. We talk, all 4 of us talk on a very regular basis. So if you have a message to get to any of us, we can make sure that it's heard. So, and that's it. So fuck off 2023 and cheers and fuck off whatever. Have a good new year. Don't get sober and pulled over or something. So call Sam.
Call Sam. What?
Not this one.
Oh,
Oh wait. Oh shit. You're not. You don't even. So Sam, I should explain that now. There's a lawyer here named Sam Bernstein who has commercials on constantly. That's his number is 1-800-CALL SAM.
oh, call him. Don't fucking call me.
Sam's reaction was perfect. He's like, what?
I am not going to get anyone's ass out of jail. So don't call me.
I'm gonna call Sam. The rest of you call the other Sam.
There you go.
Don't call me. Oh my God, he's so serious. What?
I was very confused. I was like, why are you telling people to call me? I do not need freaks calling me. I don't know these podcast listener freaks. I don't need them calling me.
I'm crying.
All right.
Oh my
All right.
God.
So before we stomp on the dicks of any of our people who are actually listening to this,
Oh,
have a good New Year, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
bye, guys.